Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be playing some Orbiter. This is the XR2 Ravenstar, and the mission I will be doing is launching and docking with the International Space Station. It's a fairly easy task in this simulator. Well, you know. So, the first thing I'm going to need to do is just launch at the right time. So, if we take a look at the map, we can see that here's the ISS, and it's going to be passing over. So it's best to actually get behind the ISS as it passes over, so you can speed up to it as you are in an orbit underneath it. And when you are in an orbit underneath another orbit, you will catch up to the object that you're trying to dock with. Intersection in 120 seconds, that's 2 minutes. This is a good time to launch. Alrighty. So one thing we have to note is that the southern heading that we're going to need to take is 137 degrees. Go ahead and change my HUD color to something a little bit more noticeable. Turn on my APU.
Hitch on.
Turn on my air surfaces control. And we're going to go and launch.
knots. V1. Rotate. Wheels up.
Bring down my throttle just a little bit so I can make my my bank here to 137.
Warning, gear deployed.
Don't forget to put my gear up. I'm at the right heading.
Gear deployed.
Bring it up.
And locked.
And now I ascend. Set my autopilot. Alrighty.
Mach 1.
I'll climb to about 16 kilometers, and then I'll start to level off and get ready for the scram ascent process. Okay, time to start leveling off. For most of this process, I'll be using the autopilot instead of the direct controls, since I don't have a joystick at my computer right now. As soon as I hit Mach 4, my scram engines are ready to use.
Mach 3.
Take a look at my temperature display. Don't want to get too hot.
Mach 4.
Alright, Mach 4, scram doors open. Scram engines on. Flow at maximum. I can turn off my main engines.
Closed. Mach 5.
This begins the scram ascent process.
Mach 6.
I'm using my relative inclination to get a good idea of where exactly I am in orbit. The inclination to the International Space Station's plane.
Mach 9.
Start bringing down my pitch, so I'm getting colder. The map, the International Space Station's definitely flown past us. So about the rest of this process, it's just me waiting to get up to speed. I'll be at about Mach 20 when I turn off my scram engines.
Mach 12.
Here, I want my relative inclination to be exactly 0. And just the way that this launch is going, I'm probably going to have to do a course correction or a plane alignment burn at a certain point, just because I'm significantly off the International Space Station's orbit.
Mach 16. Mach 20. Warning, scram temperature.
Alrighty, my scram engines are at their
Warning,
operational
scram
limit.
temperature.
I'm gonna have to turn them off.
Warning, scram temperature.
Close scram doors. Bring up my pitch. I'm gonna go ahead and open up my orbit MFD. Currently my apoapsis is 68 kilometers above, and I need to bring that up even more.
Mach 21.
Just bring my bank back to
Mach
normal now.
22.
I'm just on the edge of the
Mach
atmosphere.
23.
My apoapsis climbing here. Apoapsis is the
24.
farthest point in my orbit around the Earth. I'm going to stop when it hits about 140, 150.
25. Retro
There we
doors
go.
are closed.
I'm going to go ahead and start my prograde autopilot. Automatically
Mach
orients me
26.
in the prograde position. And I'm noticing that my apoapsis and my descending node relative to the International Space Station's orbital plane is pretty much at the exact same time, which is going to cause me some issues. Okay. ABT is 430 seconds. Oh, no, I've got a minute. 2 minutes. So that should be enough to circularize my orbit and then align my planes perfectly. Currently I'm off the International Space Station's inclination by 0.73 degrees.
Information. APU fuel 90%.
Okay, that should be a reminder that I should be opening up my radiator now.
Mach 26.
And my retro doors for good measure. And at that point, I don't need my APU on anymore. If we take an external view, this is what the radiator there is opened. And retro doors are these retro rockets on the front. Less powerful, but useful when you want to decelerate and not change your angle of attack from going straight forward to backwards. So if we take a look at the map, we're currently over South America, I believe. There we go. So you can see the green line is my orbit, and the International Space Station's orbit is the yellow. You see about right here is when our orbits cross in plane. So that's at the point in which I need to align our planes. That's the first step. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and speed up time. And I'm going to probably need about 11, 12, or 10, 11 seconds to circularize the orbit, so I need to keep that in mind. So I want to circularize, start the process about 7 seconds out. That's a good number. That's about right now. See here, the green line is going to encompass the gray circle. And at that point, we have made orbit. We're not coming back down anytime soon. I'll go ahead and switch over to my aligned planes again. I'm close to the descending node, so in order to align planes at the descending node, I need to be at orbit normal. Plus. Switch my HUD from surface to orbit HUD. My time to node is about 2 minutes, so I'll just go ahead and speed that up just a little bit. Okay, we're about 30 seconds out. This here should tell me when I should start thrusting in order to make the plane change. I want to get this relative inclination down to 0. There we go.
Rotation.
Oops. Went over a little bit. Use my retro rockets to undo what I just did.
Translation.
Okay. I'm really on the edge there. I'd like that to be a little bit closer. Even though it does say 000, it could be even closer. That's okay. I can I'll take the time to fix that a little bit later. So now I need to start my sync process. So I'm going to go ahead and set my orbital sync to target to the ISS. Currently we have no intersection. I could just kind of do it manually and just figure out an intersection, but I'm going to use the interplanetary course program to set up the target intercept. I want my delta V to be as low as possible. Delta V meaning change in velocity. The least amount of change in velocity means the least amount of fuel used. Let's see. This is almost a home and transfer orbit, and that's good enough. So in 2,000 seconds, we're going to do the transfer. But at this point, I want to see if I can clean up our plane here. So I'm going to go ahead and stay in orbit normal. Speed up time just a tad bit. And use my translation thrusters in order to get us perfectly aligned. I don't think we're going to get any closer than that. The amount of thrust is not even going to tell us. So we're pretty much perfectly aligned with the International Space Station at this point. So our next part is just to wait for the time for us to sync up with the International Space Station, do our burn, and then meet up with it. So we're going to go into prograde, alignment here, and just go ahead and speed up time. This interplanetary program has an auto burn function, which I primarily like to use since it's pretty accurate. So So I'm just speeding up time here. Simulation time, we've been off the ground for over 55 minutes. So this is an interesting. I'm going with what my computer says. I wouldn't have expected it to be pointing down towards the Earth, but the computer says this is the vector we need to go in order to get to the International Space Station. I believe it. Only a 5-second burn, so it's not going to be significant where we're going to enter the atmosphere again. The computer automatically starts the burn. Cleans up with translation. At this point, I'm going to want to go into our sync orbit. Okay, this is where it says we're going to meet up with the International Space Station. And this is the amount of time. It says between when we get there and the International Space Station gets there. So if I can bring this down to 0, we will pretty much hit the space station. Which is, well, we don't want to hit the space station, but we want to match up with it. We want to get there. So I'm going to go back to prograde.
Rotation. Translation.
Keep us on translation and see if we can fiddle with these numbers a little bit. So if I translate forward, oh, yeah, that number goes higher. We want it lower. We want it at 0. So I'm going to translate backwards. Alrighty. We are pretty much synced up with everything. We are gonna arrive there perfectly. At this point, we just need to wait. I think I can take this time now to bring up my docking. Set the HUD. So there it is. There's the International Space Station right now. We need to complete half an orbit, and then we'll be right at it. So let's just go ahead and speed up time. See, our time there is shifted just a little bit, so I'm going to want to maybe do one little correction here. Direction. There we go. Speed up time again. Okay, so we are a little bit less than 10 minutes out. Our relative velocity to the International Space Station is 111 meters a second. By the time we get there, it's going to be less than that. I bet we can even find out what our exact velocity is. No, it doesn't do that. Okay. We are currently about 46 kilometers out. What I like to do at this point is actually pull up another calculation, MFD, called burn time calculator. I gotta guesstimate the amount of delta V I need to make. I'm gonna say about 90. Oops. And it tells me my exact burn time and the distance I'm going to be away. So it says I'm going to be 180 meters away from the International Space Station. Now, in normal, the space shuttle did not burn this close to the International Space Station. It just kind of glided up and just... it was a very slow process. So, at this point, let me just go ahead and...
Rotation. Translation. Rotation.
orient myself properly. Currently 36 kilometers away. I'm speeding up time again. Currently 10 kilometers away. 9 actually. I'm going to go ahead and update my delta V so it's about 82.5. Says I need to burn Oh, 3.5 seconds. Just a few seconds here. My proximity warning is going to appear saying 5,000 away from the ISS.
5,000.
There we go. What I'm doing is pretty hotshot cowboy sort of thing. You wouldn't really want to do this. You would never be allowed back to the ISS again.
4,000.
Burn at 2,000.
3,000.
1.5 is what I want to burn at.
2,000.
Or 1. 1's a good one. Yeah, I wanna burn at 1.
1,900.
There we go. Just my computer trying to sync up
Translation.
relative velocity. So I could have burnt even closer. Oops. Be translation. I want
Rotation.
to be rotation. If we're lucky, we should see the ISS right there. We didn't even have to look at it in order to get there. So this is kind of like the docking corridor that you'd want to use. I want to see if there's any other corridor, any other docking port that's even closer. It's one of those. Let's go with 2. Alrighty.
Translation.
At this point, I'm going to want to open up my nose cone. Turn my APU. My nose cone is opening. You can see that. My docking port.
Rotation.
To save some time, I'm not going to go through the entire corridor.
Translation.
I'm just going to get right, I think that's at the 50.
800.
Use my retro rockets and the interplanetary orbital program in order
100.
to sync up again.
$75.
Okay. Let's go ahead and make this just a little bit smaller.
Rotation.
Go ahead and rotate. See exactly where we are. Reference to the port. Which port are we doing? I think we're doing that port to our left there.
Translation.
Translate to the right here.
Rotation.
Okay. Need to rotate, get aligned properly. I'm actually upside down reference to the port, so I'm going to have to rotate around. After I get this X centered, though.
Translation.
Oh.
Rotation.
I want to we go. This is what I want to do. I want to make sure this is pointing directly up. That arrow there. Oh, crap. Little technical problem, don't worry.
Translation.
I need to translate down, over to the left a little bit. Pretty much spot on. So now I just need to thrust forward. Relative velocity
50.
is half meter a second.
Rotation.
Go ahead and clean up my rotation here.
Translation. Thirty.
Just get aligned as much as possible here. Oh! Don't speed up. Don't speed up, sir. I'm gonna slow down.
Contact.
There we go. Does actually hit a little hard, but space station did explode. We're okay, and we've locked on. And that is docking with the International Space Station. As you can see, here we are. Oh, we got a good view, really, because it's really bright on one side and dark on the other, but we've docked. And at that point, we'd be able to open up the different doors, and people would be able to go on through. Alrighty. Hope you had fun watching this as much as I did playing it. You have a great day.